Good morning and thanks for joining us on Citizen Extra. I'm Lillian Muli. President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto are expected to meet parliament leaders today. The meeting is expected to discuss, among other issues, extension of House sittings in the interest of forming a cabinet vetting team. We will be looking at developments there as Citizen Extra continues. And National Super Alliance strategist David Ndii was yesterday released on a 10,000 shillings police bond. Dr. Ndii's release came last evening after the Director of Public Prosecutions, Keriako Tobiko, ordered the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to release him on police bond. Ndii was interrogated at the DCI for close to 9 hours after they arrived. During the interrogations, police officers barred NASA supporters and lawyers from accessing the DCI premises. And the government will take over procurement of books for public schools to stop the loss of billions of shillings to corruption networks. Education Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i says he singled out mainly sub-county and county schools for being involved in graft in textbook procurement and commended national schools for not abusing the system. In the new ministerial guidelines, Form 1 students who report to school between January 9th and 12th will be issued with 6 textbooks. That's maths, English, chemistry, physics, biology, and Kiswahili. Teacher Service Commission CEO Nancy Macharia announced the annual hiring of 12,000 Please let's go back. 12,696 teachers in the next 4 years to cater for increased enrollment in secondary schools. And we'll also be looking at Kenya's hotel and tourism industry operators ahead of the December festive season. We'll be looking at the tourism industry. Martin Monene is in Nyeri and he will be updating us first on the education sector researchers conference, and we'll also be looking at the tourism sector there. We'll also be looking at the situation in Uasin Gishu County. We'll be talking to John Wanyama, and Laura Achieng is now joining us live from Kisumu. Of course, as we look at the tourism sector, it is the festive season, or we are approaching the festive season, and want to look at the state of tourism operations, hotel bookings, where we are at as a country in terms of tourism revenue. Laura, good morning, and we trust that you're well. What's happening in Kisumu, and what can you tell us as regards hotel bookings? What are hotel operators and tour operators as well saying as regards bookings? We know that we're coming from an electioneering period. How has this, if at all, affected bookings within Kisumu, and what can you tell us?
Well, thank you very much, Lee, and a very good morning to you. Thank you very much. We're doing very fine here in the lakeside city of Kisumu. And indeed, true to your word, what you're saying, that the electioneering period is quite settling down, and people, you can almost tell that is the festive mood around town. We're seeing buildings and every other person trying to put up Christmas decorations in all the places. Now, the hotel industry, which is quite a thriving industry during such moments, of course, is picking up its pieces, of course, recovering, trying to grapple to make up for the profits that they missed all through the year. Of course, we had been speaking to the business community. We have been having a constant conversation with them for quite some time, and what we can say is that we've seen the business community was rather saying that they're enthusiastic and hopeful that they will be able to make profits. Now, I'm being joined by Mr. Emmanuel Wire, who's the manager at Jumuiya Hotel, to kindly tell us how has it been so far. Are you registering any bookings? What is the kind of the trends in the industry at this moment?
Thank you, Laura. My name is Emmanuel Wire. I'm the hotel manager for Jumuiya Hotel Kisumu. I want to first appreciate the county government of Kisumu for the support that we have received, because since last week and 2 weeks ago, we've seen a lot of business coming in. We've seen bank, cooperative bank, and everyone wanting to come to do business with us, because the key important thing is that when there is peace, people will all of course come, and we've seen that happening. Yes, Laura.
Well, thank you very much. And maybe if your colleague can join us to basically give us a brief overview. We have seen the county government and county governments around Kisumu basically trying to come up and saying that they're trying to push for Kisumu and the entire Western Bloc as the entry point into boosting tourism. How can you say that has compacted your business so far?
Okay, actually we are grateful for the Kisumu region. At least from the peace message they are sending across, we are seeing the business is booming back around. We are having guests back, and the peace at least is helping us to get the business back. Yes.
What are your projections? I mean, how soon do you expect to come to basically make up for the losses that you have incurred all through the year? How long do you project it to take before the hotel industry can get back to its feet?
Okay, the duration we cannot be actually very sure with it, but at least with the rate at which the business is coming back, we are hopeful maybe soonest we'll be able to recover. Yeah.
Well, quite enthusiastic there. It's the festive season. Yeah. Well, Lillian, that is it. And maybe the ladies also here. I mean, such festive seasons, we're seeing people coming in with their families and their children. Do you have like any special offers, maybe to try and entice customers to come into the hotel industry?
My name is Gladys Atieno. I'm the food and beverage manager of Jumuiya Kisumu. Right now, it's Christmas season, and we are very busy. We thank God for the season that we are peacefully. And right now we have very many offers. We have a swimming combo for kids. You can come and enjoy our swimming pool.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I was talking about the general overview, not necessarily to Jumuiya. I mean, you people in the hospitality industry, especially, we have seen quite an increase in the numbers of conferences being held in town. We had the governors from the various regions, the Lake Region Economic Front. They were coming here in Kisumu. I mean, how do you feel as the hospitality industry? I mean, registering quite such conferences of that magnitude.
We are feeling very optimistic that the business has come back. Initially it was very low. Right now it's back in swing. And right now here as Kisumu Jumuiya, we are fully booked. We have conferences going on right now, and we thank God for that.
Yes. Thank you very much. Well, Lillian, that is what in a nutshell is going down at the hospitality industry. And of course, later on, we'll also be going to the governor's office where his cabinet is expected to be sworn in. As you know, later sometime last month or 2 months ago, the governor had put in place a task force after sending cabinet secretaries from the previous regime on compulsory leave. And he had said that directors of the various ministries will be kicking in to basically hold on, or rather push the agenda, of course, trying to implement his manifesto within the 100 days, what he had said he would be achieving in 100 days. So today he'll be swearing in his cabinet, whom he said will be taking over from where the task force members had left from. So of course that is a conversation that we'll be following up on, and that is in a nutshell what is going down here in Kisumu County. Back to you, studio.
Thanks, Laura. That's Laura Cheng in Kisumu County, and hotel operators there are optimistic that December will be a good month for them. This is ahead of the festive season, Christmas just around the corner. They're saying that they're experiencing full bookings, and there's been a turnaround, and that what is paramount in this particular sector is peace, and therefore peace, at least influencing the numbers that are being seen there in most hotels in Kisumu County. Let's cross over now to Uasin Gishu County. John Wanyama is in Eldoret. Let's take a look at the state of affairs there. Want to look at the numbers there, tourism numbers there, local tourists, that is domestic tourists as well as foreign tourists. We do know that tourism was once the highest foreign exchange earner before a decline that started in the year 2011 before last year's rebound. There was a rebound last year, and therefore we want to take a look at what the numbers are as we speak. Remember, once again, we are fast approaching the festive season. John Wanyama, good morning. What's happening on your end?
A very good morning to you, Lillian. And where I am today, Lillian, I'm not in Uasin Gishu, but I'm in Iten, Elgeyo Marakwet County. And here we would like also to see what is really happening here in Elgeyo Marakwet County. As you remember, this is a home of champions, so you can expect, or this county always witness athletes from outside the country, international athletes, and they come here to train specifically here in Iten. So, Lillian, I would like to talk to Deputy Governor for Elgeyo Marakwet to tell us maybe what are their plans, what is the booking levels up to now, and is there anything that Kenyans and other foreigners can come in Elgeyo Marakwet and come and look at? Is there anything they can brag or be proud of? Governor, if my first question to you, how is the booking now?
Thank you, Wanyama. I want to thank you for this session. First, I want to tell you that Elgeyo Marakwet is one of the most attractive counties currently in terms of tourism and so many other activities. And currently, as we speak, we are talking about over 70% booking in our local hotels. I think this is because of so many other factors, because we are one of the most peaceful counties which was not affected by a lot of political temperatures. And again, we have a good scenery in Elgeyo Marakwet. We have the Rimoi National Reserve, which is currently having among the biggest elephants with a population of over 600 elephants moving in herds of around 100, which is one of the most unique feature about us. In Elgeyo Marakwet also, it's the only county where you drive less than 30 minutes, experiencing 3 different ecological zones within less than 30 minutes. It's a county with the longest stretch of escarpment. We have a very beautiful scenery. So we have a lot. In sports tourism, we are the only county which currently does paragliding. We have people from Europe, Italy, all the countries in Europe trading here. And this is the season from December, and its peak is in January for paragliding. We actually have the highest, we have the longest time actually a paraglider has ever stayed in the air for over 8 hours. And that was only done in Elgeyo Marakwet, and I think that's what is attracting so many people to Elgeyo Marakwet. We had our Kenyans and foreigners also to get a break from the hustle and bustle of the cities and come to Elgeyo Marakwet and experience this have a wonderful experience here in Elgeyo Marakwet. Wanyama, I would also want to tell you that in Elgeyo Marakwet we not only lead in terms of tourism, in sports we are one of the best. All the record holders in marathon, all the field or track, we have them in Elgeyo Marakwet. Talk about Mary Keitan, you talk about Vivian Cheruiyot, we talk about Dennis Kimeto, Wilson Kipsang, all those, they come from Elgeyo Marakwet. So we also are a good training ground. We have 3 high altitude training areas. We have Kaptagat Forest, we have Iten, and we have Kapsite in Marakwet West. And those are some of our best training areas. We have the leading athletes also worldwide coming to train in Elgeyo Marakwet. Notably, Mo Farah also trains in Iten, and that's why it gives us a lot of problems during these competitions. Majority of them train here. That's why they give us a lot of challenges when we are competing with them. Other issues that we have in Elgeyo Marakwet, I think you are aware, and I think Citizen TV is also aware, that the latest Miss World Africa and Miss World Kenya comes from Elgeyo Marakwet. Maglin Cheruto comes from Elgeyo Marakwet. She recently went to China, and out of 119 competitors, Maglin emerged among the top 5, and she only comes from Elgeyo Marakwet. So I can assure you that we are always the home of champions across, from tourism, from sports, from all these other issues, including resource mobilization, resource utilization. We are among the best also in Kenya.
Maybe, Governor, what are you doing to promote especially all of this? What are you doing to ensure that you are promoting to another level? Thank you.
First of all, we have the best rates currently in our Rimoi. We have a camping site already, which was developed last year, late last year. And we currently have a camping site, a nice camping site. We have already constructed a gate, a very beautiful gate. We have a watchtower also at Rimoi, and where people can stay and watch the elephants drink water and other animals. We have also restocked the park. From KWS, they have helped us restock. We currently have more giraffes, more wild dogs. We have zebras. We have so many zebras down there, and we already had more animals. So I think we have enough animals down there. We are doing the roads. We are expanding the roads within the park, and I think we have the most affordable rates currently. So it's attractive to people who are coming for team building, people who are coming just to come and relax and camp. Groups, friends can come and take nyama choma, and you know Kenyans like a lot of nyama choma, and it's the only place you can get a very good nyama choma, and it's down in the goat meat. We have the best goat meat down in the valley. So those are some of the things that we have done as a county, and we will continue. As a block, we have a block called NOREB, whereby we are developing a product for the entire region, whereby when a visitor leaves Nairobi and they come to the North Rift, all the way from Baringo, Uasin Gishu, Nandi, all the way to Turkana, you will have a wonderful experience when you come this way. So we are in the process of developing such a good product.
Lastly, Governor, if you can talk about the Hanging Valley in this county and those young people who are diving in Cheplodge in Kerio Valley.
Thank you, Wanyama. I want to tell you also that we are also the only county we have the Cheplodge Gorge, whereby we have our divers, our young boys who dive a long stretch down into the waters, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. And I think majority of Kenyans come to watch those boys dive, and it's a shared resource between us and Baringo County. I told you we are a Noreb County. We are a block, and it's a shared resource because it's actually in the border. Sure. And the majority of the boys who dive there come from Elgeyo Marakwet. And we want to urge our Kenyans and any foreign visitor who wants to come to Elgeyo Marakwet, please ensure that you pass by Cheplodge Gorge before you leave, because it's a wonderful experience. And majority of those boys have been absorbed into the Kenya Navy, because the Navy guys came and they watched and saw some guys. These are guys who are being even sometimes when there are issues and someone has drowned somewhere for disaster emergency issues, then these boys can be taken to as far as Nandi and other counties to help retrieve bodies or even save lives. So it's a wonderful place to be. Welcome to Elgeyo Marakwet.
Thank you very much, Lillian. Those are very remarkable points from the governor here. And Lillian, even you in the studio, you can walk into Elgeyo Marakwet. They are saying in Rimoi Reserve they have elephant maternity where these elephants go and give birth. So Lillian, if you have never watched this, kindly you are being requested to come and watch these guys, to watch elephants as they give birth. Also, Lillian, in Elgeyo Marakwet we have neurosurgeons, we have those people who can even operate your stomach, but these have never gone to school. They are also found in Kerio Valley down there. They open your head, they treat you, you go home healed. And there are so many things the county is saying. There are a lot of people from this country and outside the country to come and have a look what is really happening in Elgeyo Marakwet. And if you go to the coach that the governor is talking about, it's a very dangerous one, but young boys from this region also go there to dive, but down the deep down that waters is that there are many crocodiles there, but they really risk just to ensure they attract tourists so that they can come and see what the county is really offering them. From Elgeyo Marakwet County, Lillian, we are still following up and trying to see what the county is really trying to do during this festival season to ensure that the tourists and other guests come in this county to ensure they enjoy each and everything. From my side, Lillian, I take you back to studio.
Thanks for that, John Wanyama in Iten, Elgeyo Marakwet. And of course, once again, they're a replica of the situation in Kisumu County, where we hear that tourism is looking good in that particular area, both from foreign visitors and domestic tourism as well. Let's cross over to Nyeri now, where Martin Munene is on standby. And aside from tourism, we're also going to be looking at the education sector researchers conference, which is currently happening or is expected to happen today, and we'll be getting more info on that as well as on the tourism industry. Martin, good morning. This Education Sector Researchers Conference is coming a day after Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i yesterday's directives on reforms within the education sector, particularly with the Form 1 selection. Let's hear from your end on exactly what's happening there. What is it that is being discussed at that Education Sector Researchers Conference?
All right, a very good morning to you, Lillian, from Nyeri County. And like you said, this comes just a day after Dr. Fred Matiang'i actually said or actually gave a go-ahead of the Form 1 selection in the country. And what we are having here in Nyeri County at the White Rhino Hotel is a consortium of researchers from across the country, from across Africa, and indeed even from across the world. We have researchers coming from as far as the United States, and they've come here together together to just discuss matters education, and this year they are hoping to be able to actually be able to influence policy making in government, so that whatever changes that are like we are seeing in the Ministry of Education are not just informed by a boardroom meeting, for example, but they're actually going to be based on research that has been carried out, so that changes that are actually being implemented are actually beneficial to the peoples and also to the entire players in the education sector. And apart from the researchers, we've got players from the Ministry of Education who are here, but we've also got people, we also have people from the Institute of Curriculum Development in the country. Like, you know, there are changes, proposed changes in the education curriculum in the country, and research has played a key role in that change. And so we're going to be just discussing with the chairman of the people who've organized this particular conference, and is going to be giving us more insight into what they're actually doing and why they thought it's important for them to have this particular conference. But Lillian, what I can say is that the aim of this conference is to ensure that changes that are happening in the education sector are purely based on research, and they're not actually guesswork. And so any changes that we're going to be seeing moving forward actually will have actually been researched, and therefore, of course, they expect that the changes will be meaningful and they will have an impact in the education sector. Let us just talk to him and let us hear what he has to say. Kindly introduce yourself and tell us why are you meeting in this particular conference and who are here.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Emmanuel Manyasa. I am Uwezo Kenya Country Manager, and I am chairing the planning committee for this conference for this year. I have to mention that this conference is a biennial conference. The first one was held in 2015. This is the second one, and we hope to hold the third one in 2019 and continue every 2 years. And the reason for this conference is actually to bring all the evidence that has been generated over the last 3 years within the education sector from a variety of researchers, ranging from universities to government to civil society organizations, to consolidate that evidence and then engage policymakers around it, so that we ensure that the decisions that are made within the education sector are evidence-based. And the theme for our conference this year is evidence-based curriculum reforms for transformative education. And the reason we chose this is because right now the most important education policy issue in the country is curriculum reforms. And so we will be listening to many researchers presenting what they have come up with in the last 2 years, to just see in which way can we consolidate this and contribute to the ongoing discussions on the implementation of the new curriculum.
All right. And maybe let me just ask you, in your research for the 2 years that you've done, what are some of the biting challenges that you've seen that are facing the education sector in the country?
One of the things that we have learned over the years is children going to school and not learning. And I'm sure you have seen this discussion, and it is affecting all levels of education, from ECD to university level, with all this noise that you hear from the labor market saying we have graduates who are not competent coming out of our higher institutions of higher learning. And so we think that there is a challenge in there in ensuring that the institutions of learning actually facilitate learning, that don't just go through these institutions and end up coming out of the system without the requisite knowledge and skills and attitudes that they need to be able to succeed in life. So that is the biggest challenge in our education sector, and that is an issue that all researchers are grappling with right now.
And so due to those challenges, what are some of the recommendations that you probably have come up with or think that could actually be able to change the situation of the education sector?
One of the things, and I'm very happy that this was taken up in the proposed new curriculum, is the issue of creating pathways, so that we are not trying to force all children who go through education to go through one stream, academic stream, because people are talented differently. There are those who have talents in technical areas, there are those who are talented in sports, there are those who are academically talented. So that is an important step to start to create options so that we don't evaluate all people who are very different using a uniform yardstick. We have had people who excel in one field, they cannot excel in another, and the issue is create opportunities for everyone to excel in what they can excel in. Eventually that enables them to make meaning out of their lives, but also enables them to be valuable citizens who can contribute to national development.
All right, and maybe we've seen a lot of changes in the Ministry of Education of late, like you're saying, the curriculum development and other changes. Do you feel as a researcher that some of these changes will actually help the education move better, and actually universities channel out students or people who are actually skilled in what they study?
The changes that are taking place are positive in my view. We just need to be careful in how we implement them, because always changing something for better is not easy. It requires serious calculation of every step that you take. Otherwise you can make very rapid gains and equally make a very fast stumble. And so we need to be careful with the implementation process so that we do not jeopardize what is actually a very good reform process.
All right, and maybe finally, we've seen researchers, like you say, with researchers from across the world. What is the role of research, especially the Kenyan-based research from Kenyan people? Are we seeing universities and institutions that do research actually do enough research in the country to help enhance policy?
I think there is research going on. I think that there can be better coordination of the research that we do, because partially there is duplication. You are doing research on this, I am doing research on the same thing. And remember, research funds are limited. Funds for research are limited. So we need to coordinate better with government, with NACOSTI, for instance, with institutions of higher learning, which are supposed to be the reservoirs of researchers, so that we do not duplicate research, we don't spend the amount of resources that we have, which are scarce, on duplication. Also, that we do not spend amount of scarce resources that we have on research that is not in line with the national aspirations. We need to be clear on what we are doing this research for, what we want to achieve at the end of it in terms of our contribution to national development and social development as well of Kenyans.
Okay, and as I let you go, has government, not just in the education sector, but has government been able to actually utilize research that has been conducted by people, or do you feel that your research is actually being put into use?
I think if I speak from education, because that is where I am, I think to a large extent, yes, the Ministry of Education has been receptive to research and to the evidence being generated. You can see a number of even the same curriculum review reform process that is ongoing is largely informed by research that has been done. When for instance, we as Twaweza started to do research on learning outcomes and initially started to scream about children going to school and not learning, that was not an issue. But it has been adopted. If you look at the new curriculum, learning outcomes are now a key component, and we feel that is evidence-based. We have seen government also implementing the Tusome program, which was actually based on the primer a research pilot that was done a few years ago. It has been adopted and implemented as Tusome. And yesterday you heard the CSA, they are going to supply books to schools. They have done this through Tusome, and based on that evidence, it shows that it is possible to supply books at a much lower cost than what the schools are buying books at the moment. And you can see that those are evidence-based actions being taken. We would like to see even more collaboration going forward. We would like to see further uptake of research evidence. But we would also like to see more engagement at the time of generating this evidence, so that the evidence which is adopted is not in any way biased, because remember also evidence has to be taken through the test of rigor to be able to know that any policy founded on it will be able to last and will be beneficial to society, rather than make a policy today based on flimsy evidence and then a few days later that policy cannot stand and you have to reverse and incur lots of losses, especially in education, because education, you are dealing with people's lives and young people's lives. If you make wrong policies, you hurt their lives permanently. So you have to be very cautious and careful in terms of how you adopt the evidence that you base your policy on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Lillian, like you've had this particular conference, a lot is going on, and especially in the education sector. A very interesting observation from this particular researcher saying that a lot of people are going to school, but no learning is taking place. And of course, saying that some of the changes that are happening in the education sector are meant to actually remedy that, so that as universities channel out graduates, then they can actually be able to meet the needs of the job market. And also a cry that researchers are actually doing their role, and it will be important for government, not just the education sector, but other sectors, to actually take up research that has been done and let the research be the one that guides a policy, so that policies that are made and laws that are put in place can not only last a long time, but can also be beneficial to society. And Lillian, in Nyeri County, we're also going to be looking at the tourism sector a little bit later. We're going to be touring some of the tourist sites in this place, and to help us understand and see if Nyeri, like you said in Kisumu and Uasin Gishu, if Nyeri is also at a high in terms of tourism and tourists coming to this particular place. Back to you in studio, Lillian. I'm Martin Munene in Nyeri County.
That's Martin Munene in Nyeri. Later we'll be talking to him about the state of tourism in Nyeri. Before that, we're crossing over now to Mombasa County, where we'll be speaking to the sales and marketing manager, Travelers Beach Hotel, Waswa Wafula. Good morning, sir, and I trust you are well. We're looking at the state of tourism ahead of the festive season, and in particular, we're looking at the hotel bookings, not just at your hotel, but give us a general scope of the state of affairs in the coastal city.
Thank you so much, Lillian. The industry is now gearing up for a high season. This is December. This is the period when the festivities are kicking in, and we are looking at good figures coming through. Not just in Travelers, but looking overall in the entire industry. We are optimistic that the festive period is going to be good, Lillian.
About just getting closer home before we talk about international visitors, let's talk about the SGR, the Madaraka Express, and how this has in any way changed the numbers, particularly with domestic tourists. Do you think the SGR has had any effect on the industry?
Lillian, we have had a great SGR has had a great impact on the numbers of tourists. We're talking about local tourism here. If we look at the periods starting when the SGR was launched up to now, of course, with the exception of the period that we were having election, we've had a tremendous surge in numbers of locals traveling to Mombasa. As a hotel, we've witnessed that. And of course, with the introduction of the inter-county as well, we've had double figures of travelers coming. And I share this sentiment with the other hoteliers also, who have witnessed a tremendous number shift from the locals coming into Mombasa as opposed to the time before the SGR was launched. And this can be attributed to probably, the amount that's now, the time that's used, the 4.5 hours from Nairobi, which is our major domestic market, to Mombasa. And of course, also the money, the fare that is used as compared to flying in or maybe using buses. This is more economical, it's faster, and it's a sure way of getting local tourists to Mombasa.
Right.
So yes, we've had a tremendous improvement.
Yeah, still on the SGR, you mentioned the fact that it is of economic value to the domestic tourist. But when the domestic tourist gets to Mombasa, their hotel rates are also said to be extremely high and therefore do not favor bookings from domestic tourists. There's been complaints about the rates not being favorable. What are you doing to accommodate these domestic tourists who opt to take a cheaper form of transport, want to holiday at your resorts, but perhaps find the rates too high?
Lillian, I would want to appreciate that. You know, we are not working in isolation as a facility, as a property. We are not working in isolation, and we also appreciate the fact that, you know, local tourism is the in thing. It's the form that will ultimately ultimately more resilient. That has made the tourism industry in Kenya more resilient. As such, as stakeholders in this industry, we have gone ahead and packaged. We have been so responsive to the needs of the local tourists, to the extent that we've given them, very incentivized rates that are well packaged. Prior to the peak season, starting on 23rd of December all the way to 1st of January, we've given different segments, different packages, just to try and accommodate their budgets. So as a facility, as a hotel, and I want to believe most other facilities have a similar approach, we have reduced on the rates. We have tried to package, to put everything together in an all-inclusive manner, so that we are having a one-stop kind of price for the local tourists.
In terms of international visitors and arrivals during this particular period, or ahead of this period, who is Kenya's, or who is the coastal region's top source market? We know previously the United Kingdom has been the country's leading market, including in the coastal region. This year, in terms of numbers, who would you say is Kenya's top source market?
I would think German, not necessarily thinking, I know it's German that is leading the market with the highest numbers. And of course, the English speakers, we're talking about the British, come second. But overall, the best performance has been from the German market that has given us tremendous support with or without the advisories and stuff. And then, of course, we have third, we have the Scandinavian countries, Poland to mention, but a few, Austria and stuff. And then, of course, we have the Africans, those who are coming locally, maybe within the region, the Ugandans and the Tanzanians and West Africans coming in within that rank.
Let's talk about the improvement that we're generally hearing, because we've been talking to hoteliers from various parts of the country, and they're all registering improvement in the sector. What do you attribute to this increase of visitors from emerging markets, from foreign markets as well? We know we're coming from an electioneering period, and there's been travel advisories from certain countries as well. So what would you attribute to this improvement in the sector?
Well, one is the relative stability that we are witnessing as a country. We've had, those issues with insecurity, but we are relatively peaceful compared to other regions. So Kenya traditionally, with its peace, I believe it's one marketing point. And then the second thing will be the activities that have been done by KTB, the Kenya Tourism Board, in marketing the destination. I believe that they have done tremendous work, especially exploring areas like China, getting into new markets, maybe fostering the already existing markets. We also look at probably the surge, maybe the improvement in the economy in the market, traditional market areas in Europe, to be precise. I mentioned that German is our best market here, and German has a very stable economy. So going forward, maybe I would think that the economy, the stability in the economy in the source market has also been a big contributor to the market, to the tourism currently coming into Kenya. And of course, I also mentioned locally with the improvement of infrastructure, the SGR, and of course also being a period when people are relaxing, they're having their festivities. I think they are all contributing towards the increase in the numbers.
Right. And final question, Mr. Waswa. It is the 5th of December. in terms of numbers, just emerging between the international visitors, the domestic tourists. First of all, have you recorded a full booking at your facility? And if at all you have, or even if you have not, where are you registering higher numbers? Is it amongst domestic visitors or from the foreign tourists?
Well, Lillian, there are seasons in the tourism market, especially in Mombasa. There are very pronounced seasons. The period like today, like now, heading into the end of the year, we basically look at the domestic market. That's where the chunk of our tourists come in, at least to have 1, 2, 3, 4 days to spend and rejuvenate before they start a new year. So, and of course, given that the weather conditions in the international market, probably maybe they are heading into winter. So we can also get a feel some of the internationals also coming through. But the chunk of our tourists in the festive season usually is that they are the locals.
Many thanks for that. We've been talking to Sales and Marketing Manager, Travelers Beach Hotel, Waswa Wafula. Thank you for your time on Citizen Extra. We are taking a very short break. We're back with more on Citizen Extra in the next hour. Stay tuned.